Then the end will come, when he hands over the kingdom to God the Father, after he has destroyed all dominion, authority, and power. For he must reign until he has put all his enemies under his feet. Now when it says that everything has been put under him, it is clear that this does not include God himself, who put everything under Christ. When he has done this, then the Son himself will be made subject to him who put everything under him, so that God may be all in all. 1 Corinthians 15:24-28. Now, I struggled with that verse myself because that got me thinking. I'm like, well, is it still Jesus is, is he still the head of the kingdom? I mean, what's going on here? Well, God's always, the head of the kingdom of God and Christ. But it raises all those kind of questions, doesn't it? And you're kind of thinking to yourself, nah, that's not happened. That's not happened yet. Particularly because we think that, that Christ still has enemies, and because all dominion and authority and power hasn't been destroyed. But you gotta be careful with the language here, right? If Jesus was to destroy all power, dominion, and authority, then suicide, right? That's what you're talking about there, you know what I mean? So you got to see it in its context. And I believe the best way to see it in context is to read Ephesians 6:12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. So all of a sudden, that makes a lot of sense there, right? So Jesus, his main enemies were spiritual there. That's the ones who he destroys, right? Because what does it tell us? We do not wrestle against flesh and blood. So flesh and blood isn't really an issue, right? It's the spiritual dark forces. These are the things that are overcome. And when Jesus has made these subject to him, then he hands over the kingdom to God the Father. Would be a better way to understand it. And a couple of verses to help here would be John 19:11. Jesus answered, "You would have no power over me if it were not given to you from above. Therefore the one who handed me over to you is guilty of the greater sin." In Romans 13:1, "Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God." So obviously human authority has nothing on Jesus and God, right? It's just, it's good when they're obedient, and it's bad when they're disobedient, So, yeah, that's that. I was hoping I would say that more eloquently, but you get the point. I don't want this to run on. So we look at 1 Corinthians 15:28-24. It looks like, total peace needs to be established in every respect. However, when you read Ephesians 6:12, you see there that that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. All the best.